The rumble of a diesel engine is a trucker's lullaby. But tonight, on Bhangar Road, it sounded more like a death rattle. My name is Rajesh, and this is the story of how a single night on India's most haunted highway changed my life forever. The year was 2023. My truck, lovingly painted with vibrant colors and adorned with tassels, was my kingdom on wheels. I was hauling a load of textiles from Jaipur to Alwar, a route I'd driven dozens of times. But this time, I was running late. My dispatcher, a man with a voice like grinding gears, had insisted I take the Bhangar shortcut. "It saves you 2 hours, Rajesh," he'd said. "Just don't stop for anyone." Everyone knows the stories about Bhangar. The cursed fort, the ghostly apparitions, the air thick with sorrow. But the road itself, it had its own dark reputation. They say it's a place where the past doesn't just linger, it hunts. The clock on my dashboard ticked past midnight. The moon was a sliver, hidden behind a thick blanket of clouds, plunging the road into an inky blackness. My headlights cut a lonely tunnel through the dark, illuminating gnarled trees that looked like skeletal hands reaching out from the shadows. An unnatural chill crept into my cab, despite the windows being rolled up. That's when I saw her. Standing in the middle of the road, bathed in the glow of my high beams, was a woman. She was dressed in a traditional red gagra, the kind you see at festivals, but its colors were faded and stained with dirt. Her face was obscured by a veil, but I could feel her eyes on me, a gaze that pierced right through the windshield and into my soul. I slammed on the brakes, my heart pounding against my ribs. The truck screeched to a halt just inches from her. She didn't flinch. Slowly, she raised a hand, not to wave, but in a gesture of warning. Her voice, when it came, was a whisper that seemed to ride the wind itself. "Turn back," it said. "This road is not for you tonight. Go back." A shiver traced its way down my spine. The dispatcher's words echoed in my head. Don't stop for anyone. Was this a trick? A trap set by robbers who preyed on lone truckers? I was a seasoned driver, not some rookie spooked by shadows. I revved my engine, a warning of my own. "Get out of the road!" I yelled, my voice sounding weak even to my own ears. She didn't move. She just stood there, a silent crimson statue. "Go back," she whispered again, the sound now seeming to come from inside my cab. Frustration and fear warred within me. I decided I'd had enough. I swerved the truck around her, kicking up a cloud of dust. As I looked in my rearview mirror, she was gone. Vanished as if she were never there. A wave of relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The road ahead seemed to stretch into infinity. I drove for what felt like an hour, but the landscape never changed. The same twisted trees, the same oppressive darkness. My GPS had lost its signal, the screen showing nothing but a blank map. A strange sense of déjà vu began to creep in. Then, I saw it. A rusted, weather-beaten sign, half swallowed by overgrown vines. In faded letters, it read, Kuni Kera, the Village of Blood. I'd never heard of it. It wasn't on any map I knew. Beyond the sign lay the silhouettes of crumbling mud huts and a desolate, abandoned temple. A ghost village. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a shortcut. It was a dead end. I tried to turn the truck around, but the engine sputtered and died. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the frantic beating of my own heart. I tried the ignition again and again. Nothing. The battery was dead, stranded, in a place called the Village of Blood. It was then that the headlights flickered back to life on their own. And there, standing in the beam of light, was the woman in the red gagra. My breath hitched in my throat. This was impossible. I had left her miles behind. "I warned you," she whispered, her voice filled with an ancient sadness. "You did not listen." The world around me started to warp and twist. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of dust and something else. Something metallic, like old blood. The edges of my vision blurred, and the abandoned village dissolved. When my senses cleared, I was back on the road, driving. The clock on my dashboard read midnight. My truck was moving, the engine humming perfectly. Up ahead, my headlights picked out a figure. A woman in a red gagra, standing in the middle of the road, No, it couldn't be. Was I dreaming? I slammed on the brakes, screeching to a halt. "Turn back," she whispered, her hand raised. "This road is not for you tonight." It was happening all over again, the same words, the same chilling gesture. I was trapped in a loop, a prisoner of this haunted highway. Panic set in. This time, I tried to reason with her. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" I shouted through the closed window. She simply pointed a finger towards the darkness where the ghost village lay. "You must understand," she said, her voice echoing with a profound grief. And then the loop reset. Again I was driving. Again I saw her. Again she warned me. Or, each time I tried something different. I tried speeding past her. I tried reversing. I tried stopping and begging. But every action led back to the same point. Midnight on Pangara Road, with a ghostly sentinel blocking my path. I was losing my mind, caught in a nightmarish cycle of terror and confusion. After what felt like a dozen loops, I was exhausted, drained of all fight. I stopped the truck and just stared at her, my mind a blank slate of fear. This time, something changed. She lowered her hand and walked towards my truck. As she drew closer, her form flickered, and for a moment I saw not a ghost, but a terrified young woman, her eyes wide with panic. And behind her, another image flashed. A truck, an older model, barreling down on her without slowing. It was a vision, a memory embedded in the very fabric of this road. Her voice, no longer a whisper, filled the cab. It was filled with pain and betrayal. "He saw me," she cried out. "He saw me waving, begging for help. My husband was injured, dying by the side of the road. But he didn't stop. He just drove on." The ghostly image flickered again, and I saw the driver of that old truck. A younger man, his face grim and determined. A face I knew all too well. It was my father. The truck in the vision wasn't just any truck. It was his, adorned with the same marigold garlands he always used. The date superimposed itself over the vision, October 23rd, 1998. A cold dread, far deeper than any ghost could inspire, seized me. My father had driven this route for years. He'd told me stories, but he'd never mentioned this. He'd never mentioned leaving someone to die. The woman's spectral form solidified before me. The veil was gone, revealing a face etched with sorrow and a thirst for vengeance that had spanned decades. "Your father's debt is now yours to pay," she declared, her eyes burning with an otherworldly fire. "His callousness has cursed this road, and all who share his blood are bound to it. Until the debt is settled, you will drive this road for eternity, just as I am forced to haunt it." Her words hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just a random haunting. It was a personal reckoning. A curse passed from father to son. I was paying for a sin I didn't even know had been committed. The time loop wasn't just a trap. It was a purgatory designed for my family. My terror gave way to a sliver of understanding. This ghost, this tormented soul, she didn't just want revenge. She wanted justice. She wanted someone to right the wrong that had been done to her. "What do I have to do?" I asked, my voice trembling. "How can I settle this debt?" The ghost looked at me, her expression unreadable. "A test," she said. "The universe demands balance. A life was ignored, so a life must be saved. You will be given one final chance, one final loop. Your choice will determine your fate and mine." The world dissolved once more. I found myself back at the start of the loop, the clock striking midnight. But this time, the road ahead was different. It forked. One path was the familiar, darkened highway leading towards the woman. The other was a narrow, unpaved shortcut that cut through a dense thicket of thorns. A signpost, freshly painted and new, pointed down the shortcut. Alwar, 1 hour. It was a tempting offer, a way to bypass the ghost, to escape the loop, to get to my destination. Perhaps this was the test, to be smart enough to take the escape route. As I hesitated, a faint groan reached my ears. I peered down the main, haunted road. Lying by the side, partially hidden in the shadows, was an old man. He had fallen from his bicycle, and his leg was twisted at an unnatural angle. He was moaning in pain. My heart pounded. This was it. The test. The shortcut was freedom. The main road was a trap, a confrontation with the ghost, and now, a delay, the dispatcher's voice, my father's likely mindset, my own desire to just end this nightmare. They all screamed at me to take the shortcut. Leave the old man. Don't get involved. Save yourself. But then I saw the woman's face in my mind, not the vengeful ghost, but the desperate wife begging for help. I saw the old man, helpless and in pain, and I saw my father choosing the easy way out and damning a soul in the process. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be him. With a deep breath, I turned the wheel and steered my truck down the main road towards the injured man. I pulled over, grabbed my first aid kit, and jumped out of the cab. As I knelt beside the old man, I could feel the ghost's presence watching me. I cleaned his wounds, used pieces of wood from my truck to fashion a crude splint for his leg, and gave him water. He was weak, but grateful. "Thank you, son," he rasped. "You are a good man." As I helped him to his feet, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. The oppressive atmosphere that had choked the highway all night suddenly lifted. The air felt clean, fresh. I looked up, and the woman in the red gagra was standing there. But she was different. She was translucent, bathed in a soft, peaceful light. The anger and sorrow were gone from her face, replaced by a gentle smile. "The debt is paid," she whispered, her voice like the chime of a distant temple bell. "Kindness has broken the curse." She began to fade, not vanishing abruptly, but dissolving like mist in the morning sun. Her final words echoed in the now quiet night. "Go in peace, Rajesh, and remember." And then she was gone. The old man looked at me, his eyes clear. "You have a kind heart. Your father would be proud." I helped him onto my truck, and together we drove away from Kuni Kera, leaving the haunted highway behind. The sun was beginning to rise, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. That night changed everything. I never drove the Bangar road again, but its lesson is carved into my heart. Years have passed. I'm an older man myself now, with gray in my beard. I no longer drive the long hauls. Instead, I teach new, young truckers at a driving school. My main lesson isn't about handling a truck or navigating tough roads. It's about humanity. I tell them all the story of that night, of the woman in red and the choice I had to make. I tell them that the most important cargo we ever carry isn't in the back of our trucks. It's the kindness in our hearts. A few minutes of delay can save a life, or in my case, a soul. On the highways of life, never be too busy to stop for someone in need. You never know whose curse you might break. It might even be your own. Thanks for watching. If you have a story about a haunted road, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the road less traveled. Drive safe.